As a child, I had severe attachment disorder. I often would have tantrums, bursts of anger, and I even ran away from school. Most of my days were spent in the counselor's office, playing games and drawing, learning. I eventually learned that it was to build my confidence and to make me more comfortable being at school. In seventh grade, I began to show symptoms of anxiety. It started small with panic attacks. It eventually grew to the point where I was unable to speak to my peers without having a full-blown panic attack. In eighth grade, we held this event called the Author's Party. We all wrote a short children's book, and at the Author's Party, we would present it to our friends and our families. During rehearsals the day of, I ran to the bathroom and experienced the worst panic attack I had ever had. I remember laying on the bathroom floor, crying, while my chest and my head were pounding. I was shaking and sweating, and everything around me seemed to be moving too fast. At the end of the school day, my teacher asked to meet with me and my mom. She told me that this was something that I needed to get over, and that it was something just in my head. At this point, I had already felt like a failure. I felt like this was such an easy task to do, yet I was still unable to do so. That night, her words lingered in my head, and suicidal thoughts crossed my mind. For years after, I had depressive episodes that would last for months at a time. I was unmotivated to do anything, nor did I care for anyone or anything in my life. There were times when I would skip school because I couldn't get out of bed. For months, I felt numb and empty. It wasn't until the end of my sophomore year that I began to receive help and to learn how to cope with my emotions.
Along with the statistics shown, 1 in 5 youth have a diagnosable mental illness, while 1 out of 10 youth suffer from a mental illness so severe that it negatively affects their daily lives.
Mental illnesses and the lack of care for mental health are a prevalent issue among students in today's society. Mine is one of millions. So what exactly is mental illness? Mental illnesses are health conditions affecting emotions, thought processes, and one's behavior. This can be caused by a number of factors such as stress, trauma, chemical imbalances in the brain, and much more. There are a number of various mental illnesses ranging from depression, anxiety, to eating disorders, and much more. However, the lack of addressing the importance of mental health and the stigma revolving around mental illness prevents many students nowadays from receiving the help that they need or even realizing that they have a problem. One major reason is shame, whether it be from peers, family, or even oneself. Sometimes when people are mentally ill, they get called things like psycho or crazy after they exhibit unfavorable traits. These words and phrases used incorrectly are damaging and furthers the idea that those with a mental illness are abnormal and should be feared. Another major reason is the lack of empathy in today's society. This can be caused simply due to being uneducated on the topic of mental health. When students reach out, they're often met with people who don't care or are even annoyed. Many do not understand the potential a mental illness has. This discourages many more students from reaching out, and they'll continue to bottle up these emotions until it's too late. The lack of empathy I experienced early on nearly cost me my life. Later, the understanding and empathy I was shown years later reminded me that I wasn't alone and that there were people who genuinely cared for my well-being. Even the most basic understanding of the importance of mental health can make the biggest difference in someone's life. Right now, amidst the coronavirus pandemic, the mental health crisis of students continues to worsen. I asked several students how the pandemic has affected their mental health, and this is what they said.
Hi, I'm Camille Salonga, and I'm class of 2021, and I'll be explaining how I felt during the pandemic. So, to sum up one word about the pandemic and how I felt, it was pretty depressing. I felt isolated. Like I didn't get into contact with like a lot of my friends. I'm an only child, so it was just myself a lot of times at home. Um, Parents are essential workers, so I was just like worried. Oh, like, are they gonna get the coronavirus? And it was just a lot of worrying and being cautious. So yeah, thank you.
Hey, just to talk about what COVID-19 has done to affect me negatively, it's honestly like purely about like having a social distance and really just staying inside. Like I really draw energy off of just being around my friends, and being away from them is really hard on me. I mean, I still have FaceTime, but still kind of struggle sometimes, and it's really affected my mental health because I really do love my friends.
Over the past months, quarantine has drastically declined my mental health. As you can see, every student's mental health is being impacted one way or another. The need for mental health services in the school system continues to rise, but the needs have not been met. Now, I'm not saying that every school needs to have a psychologist available or 24/7 care or anything major like that. I'm talking about the basics. Educating both students and faculty on the importance of mental health and even just being understanding and showing empathy can remind millions of students across the country that they're never alone and that they're loved and supported. Additionally, being faithful can also help allay any negative emotions.
So please, don't despair and don't give up. If you experience that dryness, just keep praying. Keep pushing that boat, knowing that the Lord who is calling you is also giving you the strength to stay faithful. He's giving you the strength to push the boat. He's giving you the strength, and He will lead you through this with a heart that's even more powerfully capable of loving Him and loving them.
I wanted to end by leaving you all with a few concepts. The first is to always know that it's okay to not be okay. Taking a break is self-care, and you don't always have to be productive. It's okay to take time to yourself. I also wanted to remind you that you're loved and cared for. Your feelings are valid, and there's no shame in not being okay. Thank you.